So the process of capturing the Analemma seems easy enough, right? But it requires meticulous attention to detail, maintaining precise camera alignment throughout the entire year. The time lapse of the Analemma can present all kinds of challenges, as I said, particularly here in West Virginia, where we're in the jet stream and we have all the clouds. We have other external factors such as smoke from Canada. It complicates all astrophotography endeavors that we set out on. We have things that can obstruct the view of the sun, haze, smoke, making the time lapse of the Analemma not complete. Consistency is key to the acquisition of the Analemma. To pay particular attention to the sun throughout the year. From the Canadian wildfires will create haziness, affecting the quality and clarity of the images that you capture. The smoke particles in the air, what they do is they scatter light, they diffuse the light, and they can really mess up the sharpness and the contrast of your photographs. So in such situations, of course, flexibility is key, patience, monitoring weather forecasts, looking for sky periods that are clear, considering an alternative location or traveling to where you can have a better opportunity for clear skies to help overcome local weather limitations. Overcoming all of these challenges, willingness to work within the context of what conditions you're given, and embracing these difficulties can still lead to a very unique Analemma portrait of the beautiful phenomenon that is up there for us to capture. Of course, there's all kinds of things that can be different, the shape of it in our sky, missed days here and there. We're not going to get the complete thing. Like I said, it's only been 30 people who have gotten the complete thing. Our latitude will influence the shape even. The equatorial axial tilt has an effect that is less as you move towards the equator and more stretched as you move north. And we see the seasonal variations of the position of the sun throughout the year. This can all affect the appearance of the Analemma. Starting when the sun is at the highest point in the sky near the meridian, the Analemma will appear more symmetrical. It'll appear more elongated if you take it earlier in the day. So there's atmospheric conditions to consider, such as haze, clouds, smokes, pollutants. All these things can affect the Analemma. Clear skies, of course, provide better opportunities, while hazy skies will obstruct visibility. So it's important to note that the Analemma is a complex phenomenon that represents the combined effects of all of these factors, and each time one is captured, it is unique, and it gives us the opportunity to capture the beautiful, unique shape of the Analemma in the sky. The position of the sun with respect to the horizon is something that you want to plan. The height of the sun in relation to the horizon. It all has a significant impact on the shape of the Analemma. Let's say you've been out there capturing this thing for like almost a year. You're almost there. You almost got a year, and then suddenly you're hindered by an obstruction like a tree or a house, an immovable object that will block your view of the sun at this specific time of day, which could potentially prevent you from capturing the full path of the Analemma. But the good news is there's ways to avoid these things, and it starts at the very beginning of the project to assess the surroundings, to choose a position that has a clear and unobstructed view of the sun's movement throughout the year. Going somewhere that's elevated will minimize the chance of running into obstructions like buildings or trees. I'm going to be doing my project on the rooftop where my camera is going to be undisturbed. Of course, things could still arise. I could get a windstorm that's going to blow it off course. So I'm going to have to be careful in considering how to mark it off. We have to be flexible. We have to be adaptable, especially looking for unforeseen challenges while capturing the Analemma. As we said in the sea, be semper gumby, always be flexible. But with proper planning and with examination and being prepared for contingencies, there's all kinds of things we can do. We can use Stellarium, which is a free planetarian app that can aid us in planning and the execution of our Analemma project, especially when it comes to identifying potential obstacles. With Stellarium, you can load your specific background, your specific horizon of a 360 view to actually visualize obstructions like trees, houses, or buildings, or to even assist you in framing of where this is going to be at. By using Stellarium, you can plan your shooting sessions with much greater accuracy. Of course, selecting the optimal time is how will it appear. You can visualize that throughout the app. You can fast forward through the entire year and plot the sun's position. So taking advantage of this technology like Stellarium will greatly enhance our success at the outcome of our project. It's available on multiple platforms. Like I said, you can load your background and further enhance the planning of your projects by incorporating this 360-degree panoramic photo. You get your actual surroundings, what's actually there below you as you're taking the photo. And that's what I'm going to go over right now. Is I'm going to go up here on top of the roof and I'm going to start taking my panoramic picture. I've already done it once, but I made some mistakes, so I'll try to cover that as we go. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to come out here and I want to make sure that everything is nice and level, squared away. I also want to make sure that I'm not calling 911 with my phone. If you do have it in there upside down like I do now, okay, you want to be careful not to do that. So typically you would start out in the east and then you would go the other direction, but because this is upside down, we're going to have to go in reverse. So we start our pano, everything just as still as possible, which is really hard to do with this shaky tripod. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so just ever so gently going around. Got a bright sun right there, but that's okay. Just ensuring that every single thing is nice and smooth. And when you get back over, just stop it. I know the sun is blinding right there, but that's basically how you do the 360. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it into Lightroom, we're going to process our 360 image we just took, and then go into how to import it into Stellarium. Alright, it is time for class. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to open these two files I created up here in Adobe Lightroom. The reason I have two files is because the iPhone will not do a 360-degree panoramic photo. It will only do 180, so I need two files. So I've picked up back up where I left off on one and started on the other. Now, they actually created two images when I made it on its own. So that was pretty easy. It didn't wind up chopping them up or anything. So you just go there and select the two, right click on merge panoramic. Make sure that you choose spherical and not the other one, because you're going to want a spherical for Stellarium. Okay, so those are merging now. And once they get done merging, I want to export those as a JPEG file. And pardon me if my voiceover is a little bad. I'm using the actual computer for a microphone today. So now I have them in Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do in Photoshop is I'm going to create a blank canvas. Canvas has to be specific. The canvas has to be specific measurements. It has to be 4096 by 2046 pixels to get a good result there in Stellarium. So I put those in, I create that, and I bring up this blank canvas. But my pano is also huge, so I'm going to have to change the size of it. The way I do that is, of course, with the width. I change it to 4096 and just keep the chain there so it corresponds. So now I have a smaller one, I select it, select all, and then I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it into this background. There's a couple different ways I could do this. I could draw a frame and paste it in if I wanted it a little bit lower, but it's really not necessary to do that. To do that, you just go over here to the frame tool, and then you just select the square where you want to paste it. The only bad thing is it, has a border. I think there's a way to get that off of there, but I can't remember how. I'm just going to leave a border up there, which you'll have to go back in, and you'll have to flatten that and then go back in and open it again and erase it, which is a big pain in the butt. So I just leave it there in the middle because it works out just fine for me.
in the middle. And take the magic eraser tool wand there and just erase all of the sky, which sometimes you have little pieces of sky. It's a pain in the butt. So you can create a new layer behind that there, make it green so you can see what's left. You can zoom in and find those little areas and hit them there with the magic wand and just delete them. Delete them all. Anywhere that there's an obstruction, when you bring it open in Stellarium, it's going to be a place where the stars won't be displayed because it'll appear as an obstruction. And you don't want that. You just want your trees and things like that of the background that's your actual obstructions to be obstructions. So I just get rid of that background and delete it. It's gone. You can see another screen recording for some reason popped up in the bottom. I'm going to do something fun here. I'm going to take this panoramic image of the Milky Way and I'm going to put it at the bottom of my image that I'm going to load into Stellarium. Instead of having just a nothing on the bottom, I'm going to put this in there as a design. I'm going to use that frame tool. Of course, I have to do the same thing. I have to change the image size. In this case, it's actually smaller, so I have to change it to 4096. Create a new layer, put the frame tool in, copy that. Yeah, change the size to 4096, then copy it, which actually enlarged that one because I had it small for another project. And then paste it in there. Make sure your frame box is the entire width of the bottom and not covering any of your landscape that you want to use. If you want to do that, or you can just leave it blank. It's really simple. I'm going to delete that other layer too because I don't need it. And then I have a transparent background now, and I'm going to export it as a PNG. You want to save this as whatever file name you're going to use it as in your script. I just choose to go with landscape.png because that's how I've done them all so far. But you can name it whatever you want to name it, as long as it's referred to in the initialization file in the INI file, which you have to build in. You can build it in Mac, but you need a DB editor to do that in there. And there I just open it up to make sure that's gray. That shows me that it's transparent. And so I'm going to go through editing the INI file. Okay, so here it is in the editor. Make sure that everything is right there. Name here is just a YouTube video. Of course, I am the author. And you want to make sure that you reference the right image there. See, it's landscape.png. And then you want to have your, you can put your grid coordinates in there. They have to be in that format that you see in that script. And my elevation's messed up because I believe it's in meters and not feet. So it's really not going to matter that much. I'm going to go ahead and change it anyway. I don't think that actually has to do with how high it is, how high your horizon is. I haven't seen that it has affected it. I think you have to manually move around your background if it's an issue, but it's never been an issue. It always falls exactly where it's supposed to in Stellarium for me. I've never had to raise it or lower it. I think if you had to do that, then maybe even shoot your panoramic again, it might be easier than doing that. You want 1/3 of the ground and 2/3 of the sky, of course, when you take it, and you shouldn't have any issues. So that's edited. So what I need to do now is select both the PNG, well, I need to rename this to where I can recognize it, and select both the PNG and the INI file, and I want to zip those up together. Then I'll open Stellarium. Stellarium takes a little bit to load. I'm going to fast forward it over here tonight real quick. There's no background in there right now. So you go over here to this icon here on the side menu, and you want to select a new landscape. So you want to install a new background, and you'll do that, and then go over to the zip file that you just created and hit open. Okay, it's in there. Hit OK. And there we are. It's set there as default. So I'm going to close that out now and we'll look and see what we got. It's a little bit harder to see because it's nighttime. As you can see, whoops, I'm always clicking on stars accidentally. In the daytime you can see it really well. So this is going to be very useful for my Analemma project. And there's my little thing I put on the bottom. It's just kind of funny to me, a little Milky Way wheel. Okay, so here's where the sun is going to be. And I brought up the calendar here to scroll through the days. And this is my start date when I intend to start August 1st of this year. Hopefully I'll have everything ready by then. It takes a lot of planning. That's what you're watching this for, is planning, because this is a unique year to do an Analemma project. All we can do is pray that on this day, on this day here, is a total solar eclipse. And oh, I hope it is not cloudy that day here. While I'm doing the Analemma. So this is the time I've chosen to do mine each day. And that's the reason I've chosen that time each day to take the Analemma, is because that's when the total eclipse will occur. Now mind you, this is going to be affected by daylight savings time, so you have to be mindful of that and keep that in mind. So I'm just fast forwarding through here to see if there are any obstructions, and I know already that there isn't. But this is how you can check your project. And Stellarium has this cool little script in here that shows you an Analemma. Unfortunately, it doesn't put it in there in the right perspective with your background. So I've included this, I've put this in and then fast forwarded through these days. And you can see the path the sun is taking of the Analemma. It's really neat. Hope this has been helpful. This is part 2 of my project. The next video I'm going to do, I think I'm going to get into gear. So, clear skies. We'll see you soon.